we have to be able to understand that they're processes of God. And the Lord wants us to deal with those issues or those muddy waters. You know, we have a God of history. How many know we got a God of history? If you look at the word history, it means his story.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You know, it's a compound word. History. But how many know we got a God of history? He is very historic. Mm-hmm. The ancients of days. He's the God that knows the end from the beginning. Matter of fact, he sees the end greater than your beginning. So God looks at what? At the end. Moses was called of God, and God called him out. And how many know that God opened up the Red Sea? When God called Moses to lead the children of Israel out of bondage, out of Egypt, there was a cry out. But at the same time, you never know who God's going to use. Joshua was faithful to Moses. Moses was a mentor to Joshua. He stayed close to Joshua. He was there to serve him, not to be a dictator or a spectator, but he was learning the ways of God through training. God was giving him some key things, but he didn't know that he was going to be the one to take God's people to the next level. I mean, when your time is over, it's over. Mm-hmm. It's when God put an assignment over your life, then God will remove you and he'll raise up somebody else. Mm. I don't know about you, that my task, my assignment is to pour into your life, to give you and hold nothing back, to give you what God has given you. And God wants to bring us out of the Jordan, because in order to go to the next level, there must be a washing. So here's God did a miracle when the children of Israel was facing a defeat. How many of you have ever felt like you were facing defeat, a failure? Mm. You ever felt like your back was against the wall? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Circumstances was totally chaos. Yeah. And then some people say, if ain't one thing, it's enough. Yeah.
Yes, so true.
After you come out one situation, something else rises up. Yeah. You ever been there? Yeah. But if you ain't never been there, keep on living. But how many know that God can work in the midst of your situation when it seems like there's no help? And here, God will respond to the cry of his people. He called Moses, and Moses was minding his business. He called Moses out, and Moses had that encounter with God. Y'all know the story, right? Mm-hmm. And Moses tried to make every excuse. Lord, I can't speak well. Yeah. God, I can't speak well. Now he's talking to God. God, I can't. God said, I made you. I made the dumb, made the blind, and you telling me when I call you out, mm-hmm, that you can't speak. So, you know, how many times we make excuses?
Oh, yes.
And when you called of God, most of us who called of God don't want the ministry. I never wanted this ministry, I'm being honest. Mm. You just don't run into it. It's got to be, God has to call you to the task. Mm-hmm. God has to call you to the assignment of the mandate. So here we find that, and I'm giving you some history because Moses was the forerunner for Joshua. How many know that Moses had an anger problem? Well, he had a temper. Yeah. I said Moses had a temper. And it flared up. Now, see, Moses had the temper before he was called out. He was a Hebrew, right? And he seen one of his brothers being mistreated. And the Bible said that Moses defended He defended the Hebrew. because there was an Egyptian was beating on him. Some of y'all know the story. And Moses killed the man.